Hi guys, it's GK. China is promoting the construction of 6 economic corridors around the world to realize its new economic concept, One Belt, One Road. In fact, the OBOR strategy outwardly stands for an economic and logistic network that connects China, Europe, and Africa, but in reality, it has a strong military meaning. Through such a project, China can secure a hub port in Southeast Asia, the Middle East, and Africa, and then advance its navy there, so United States and India can be militarily held in check. Until now, most of China's crude oil imported from the Middle East goes through the Indian Ocean and passes through the Strait of Malacca. In the Indian Ocean, the Indian Navy is monitoring Chinese tankers, and in the Strait of Malacca, the US Navy monitors Chinese oil tankers. If the competition for hegemony between the US and China intensifies due to the military conflict, the US military can capture Chinese oil tankers at any time, which could take a fatal hit to Chinese energy security. But if a Chinese aircraft carrier can dock in a port in Myanmar, it will make a whole different story. Through cooperation with Myanmar, China can capture the advantage and pressure India to join the US Quad from the left and right. In addition, Myanmar is rich in mineral resources such as copper, zinc, and tin, as well as natural gas and wood necessary for China's economic development. That's why China is so focused on Myanmar. Unlike the current international community criticizing the Myanmar army, China was consistent with a lukewarm attitude towards them. Also, as the United Nations Security Council's condemnation statement became known about opposition with Russia, the people of Myanmar pointed out to China as the back of the military. And when the Chinese foreign minister visited Myanmar in January, the fact that he met the supreme commander immediately after meeting the Myanmar state advisor raised further suspicion that China was dealing with them and looking after them, which was an opportunity to spread anti-Chinese sentiment in Myanmar. I would like to show you the flow of Chinese public opinion by time, from the point of anti-Chinese sentiment in Myanmar in the early days until the fire at the Chinese factory on March 14th. When anti-Chinese sentiment arose in Myanmar, the Chinese media took a consistent reporting method. Like, why do they do it to us? It is unfair, it is false rumor, etc. These were the method of major Chinese media's reporting on Myanmar. Just by looking at the few headlines so far, I was able to read the flow accurately. Chinese are being attacked by locals in Myanmar. Who causes anti-Chinese sentiment behind the scenes? Opponents of China are making rumors damaging the relationship between China and Myanmar. Be on the lookout for forces behind the scenes. Who in Myanmar now makes lies behind the scenes and gossip about China? For the past week, I have been keeping an eye on the Chinese media and checking them, but it was hard to find any media reporting the truth. I can dare say that 100% of the news in that way, like there is no reason to interfere as it is Myanmar's internal affairs. China has helped the Myanmar government in many directions, but dealing with it in this way clearly shows that there are Western forces behind them. There is not much difference between the Chinese who say it as the local media reports consistently in this way. Let me introduce some of their comments on various news. It's an internal affair, so don't interfere. Western wolves, it's your job, so we won't be leisurely involved in other people's affairs. Why are Myanmar people agitated so easily? You don't think so much like the American kid? Certainly, the Western media are great. When I see you lying so well, there is no reason to feel sorry for Myanmar. The rise and fall of Myanmar has nothing to do with China, so the Chinese have no interest in it. People's life depends on it, but they are posting that kind of comment. China's foreign policy does not lie in the economic development of the other country, the happiness of the people of that country, or the promotion of universal values such as freedom and human rights, but thoroughly pursues its own interest. So as to Myanmar, forces that benefit them just need to sit in. Regardless of who takes power, it is our side to win. China has emphasizing that they are not behind Myanmar as reported in the media above. However, on the 14th, Chinese media began to report that 2 Chinese people were injured in a fire at more than 30 factories in China, including a garment factory and the fertilizer factory in Yangon, Myanmar's largest city. In particular, China's Global Times said in an editorial that those who maliciously blaspheme China and instigate attacks on Chinese factories should be punished, and the arson is believed to have been attributed to local residents affected by anti-Chinese forces or Hong Kong separatists, and has urged punishment for the perpetrators. In the meantime, after taking a bystander attitude, the Chinese media began to change with a strong attitude when their factories suffered losses and people were injured. More than 80 people appeared and invaded a Chinese factory, destroyed property, and quickly disappeared. 32 Chinese companies in Myanmar lost money and many were injured. Demand that the perpetrators be dealt with in accordance with the law. Chinese factories in Myanmar were on fire. Britain is suspicious because the British have made a related threat in the early days. Myanmar people are out of control. Who will be instructed behind them, deliberately damaging Chinese factories? A fire broke out in a Chinese factory in Myanmar. It's time for China to go strong. All the media focus solely on the fire in the Chinese factory, and there has been little news of reports of what Myanmar soldiers have done to their citizens since then and the consequences. This is the moment when the limitations of Chinese media are exposed. By thoroughly telling the fact that they have suffered and conveying it to the public, it is to sway and lead public opinion to the favor of the party. By reporting only such news, the Chinese are angry and furious, and they say something that crossed the line. Let's send troops to Myanmar to protect the Chinese. America and Britain are manipulating them. I think it's time to handle. I think we should send troops to Myanmar. Obviously, it was done by people working in Korean and Japanese companies. Seeing the Chinese companies being hit, it is clear that the forces of the West are manipulating behind the scenes. We need to send troops to protect Chinese companies. In view of the current international situation, it seems that we have to abandon our fantasy and prepare for war. Where is the Chinese aircraft carrier? Those who oppose China must be severely punished. However, media outside of China are suspicious of China's self-made play. It doesn't make sense that a citizen of Myanmar, who had been moving peacefully, suddenly armed themselves, set fire to more than 30 factories and fled in an instant. People also pointed out that the fact that the Myanmar military government has taken control of this place and stopped the Myanmar people as if they have waited for it is logically inconsistent. It is also unusual that the Chinese media are suspicious that they have quickly announced the scale of the damage as if they had prepared in advance. In addition, there are many views that China is using this to send its troops to Myanmar to establish a force that suits their taste for the purpose of maintaining security. To us, Myanmar's tragedy doesn't look like someone else's. Therefore, Korea aspires for the democratization of Myanmar and continues to actively support the citizens of Myanmar who are fighting for the military more than any other country. Local citizens of Myanmar are also aware of this and are expressing their gratitude to Korea online. They also express their gratitude to Korea through Twitter and Facebook and post the expression of gratitude in Korean and Myanmar language. In addition, the image of the Korean media that reported the local situation was captured and shared, and Myanmaris who saw it were responding, saying, "Thank you for the report." Currently, the situation in Myanmar is getting worse. There should be no more victims now. In particular, China should not only think about their own interests, but at least once sincerely think about the people of Myanmar. Korea sincerely hopes that the situation in Myanmar will improve as soon as possible. Thank you for watching. Have a happy day.